Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today we are here for episode 3 of my new wig wearers series. I am in the middle of a series for new wig wearers or those who maybe aren't super new to wigs but are looking for some information and just some camaraderie when it comes to wearing wigs. I know some of you guys who comment on a lot of my videos and who are so supportive of me have said that you wish that this information had been there for you when you started. And I agree, I do too, and that is my motivation for pushing through this series, even though it is a little nerve-wracking to try to make sure I'm getting all the details and all the good information and accurate information to share with all of you. So if you aren't new to the wig wearing journey, please offer up any wisdom that you have learned. Anything that you can do to help our wig sisters would be awesome, and we are definitely all in this together. So I look forward to reading the comments, and I highly recommend that you take some time to read the comments as well. If you are new here, please, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I do wig reviews and am more and more trying to spend time doing tutorials and educational videos to help make the wig wearing journey a little bit easier and less rocky. And at the end of the day, I am a wig wearer too, and I'm a wig sister, and so I get it. I understand what you're going through, and I hope that if there's any little thing that I can do to help you, that I will do that. So I'd really love for you to stick around for future videos. So today, let's get into episode 3, which is all about how to determine what head size you have, what size wigs you should wear, and some of the things you need to be aware of when it comes to wig fit, and how your head shape, face shape, and other factors will impact how a wig may look different on you than it does on someone else. So if you're interested in that, stick around for the rest of this video. Okay, so something I just want to get out of the way right in the beginning here is that my typical video is not a highly edited affair. I really don't edit my videos a whole lot. I usually have 3 sections to my videos, and I film each section all the way through. So I've got an out of the box, which I usually tack on the end. I have a outside color spotlight, so I basically show you the color inside and outside. I film that outside part separately, and then I have the wig review part of the video, and I don't usually edit those, and I know a lot of you appreciate that. These videos are just a little bit different, and while I'm not really going to edit them, I may be filming them in segments, because this is really a lot of information and really too difficult to do all in one take. So I might be pausing the video here and there just to kind of gather my thoughts, figure out what the next part is or how to flow into the next part, or maybe even refresh my memory about what I wanted to talk about in the next part, so that I don't spend this video looking at my notes, which I do have. It's because this content is so important. It is very critical that I do the very best job that I can and I get the information correct, that I don't just start rambling and talking and saying things that sound good if they're not correct. So that if you may notice that it seems as though this is edited, it's not really editing. I'm just pausing the video to move on to the next section. So I wanted to get that out of the way because I know my style is just a little bit different sometimes than other people's who make videos, and that's why we need all of us, right? We're all different. We all bring different things to the table. So anyway, let me tell you too, before I get going on the content, what I'm wearing. I am wearing Renee of Paris Wyatt in the color Melted Coconut. I just got Wyatt an hour ago. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this wig. So this is my second Wyatt. I do have a review of Wyatt in Melted Marshmallow. And I fought with myself for a week after getting it. I wanted it another color. I wanted in 4 more colors. And I must have added different colors of Wyatt to different shopping carts over the course of a weekend, like 20 times. I'd find one on clearance, but I wasn't sure if that's the color I wanted. I'd find one on eBay, and I wasn't sure if that's the price I wanted to pay. And I ended up getting this one because I found it, I had a 30% off coupon. It was reduced price, and I had a reward. So I am super excited, you guys, to do a color spotlight on this one. coming in a future video. But Wyatt is one of my current not all-time favorites. I can't say that because I haven't had her that long, but one of my current favorites, and I love Wyatt. So I know you guys are going to be curious about that. All right, so let's move on into the content of why you're here. And I will put just timestamps in the bottom so you can skip through some of this chatter if you don't appreciate it. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of what I found in doing my research for this video. And I really think this is important for you to listen. So please stay for this part, even if you're going to skip ahead. One of the hardest things about the wig wearing journey, and we all experience it, is, sorry guys, my dog's going to bark, I may have to stop, is the, how do I say this? The information that you find on wig wearing is not consistent. You will see a lot of contradictory information out there about the wig wearing journey. And every one of us, wig wearers and reviewers, will share different information because we have different opinions. And a lot of what happens in the wig wearing journey is opinion driven. It's subjective. It's personal preference. You know, what cap feels most comfortable. We could have the exact same measurements, and what I find a comfortable size cap for me, maybe they're too tight or too loose for you. You know, there's just so much subjectiveness to this journey. It can be really, really difficult to make decisions. And I did find a lot of that when I was doing my research about the proper way to measure your head for a wig and how to interpret your measurements. And so that was a little frustrating. So I am going to actually kind of combine some of the information that I found. I'm going to tell you where the inconsistencies were, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it and how I think you should proceed in light of that information. So hopefully that made sense. I think kind of the point of that little part here is just to let you know there is very little black and white when it comes to wearing wigs. Very little black and white. And if you like black and white, if you are someone who really struggles to live in sort of a gray shaded world, or where the answer to your question is it depends, if you struggle with that, then the wig journey is going to be just a little bit hard for you. And I just want to encourage you that that is kind of how it is. You will get there. The more data you can take in, the more videos you can watch, the more information you can read and gather, eventually you'll start to understand and learn what works best for you. So please note that as we proceed with the rest of this video and I talk about the next section about how to measure your head. Okay, so for this next section, I'm actually going to demonstrate on my canvas wig head how to measure your head, as opposed to measuring on myself, because that's a little difficult to do on camera. I will also refer you to other videos that are out there that show you how to measure a head. There are other videos on YouTube. Wigs.com has a video. John Renault has a video. Other YouTubers have videos. There are other videos out there showing you how to measure a head. So you can certainly watch other videos to kind of see how everybody else does it. One of the inconsistencies, and I'm going to grab my tape measure here. One of the inconsistencies that I found was related to, well, not only related to this, but one of the inconsistencies was there is a measurement, and actually I just realized without a face on here, this becomes harder to show. This is the front. One of the inconsistencies was how to get the over the top of your head measurement. So where does that tape measure sit? So we'll talk about that inconsistency in a second. But I do kind of want to address what I think is a little bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to measuring your head. And that is, everybody wants to talk about circumference. Everything I see is all about circumference. Every question a wig sister asks when they ask about fit, they tell what their circumference is. I don't know if it's just me and I just need too much data compared to other people, or what it is, but I think there is a lot more involved with determining how a wig's gonna fit you. In addition to circumference. Circumference is important, but it is not the only thing that you should be concerned about, because we could have the same circumference, but if our over the top of our head measurements are drastically different, how the wig is going to lay on me is going to be very different from how it's going to lay on you. If our measurements here are different, if our face shape is different, all of that is going to impact how this wig looks on you. And I can't think of a better example than to give you a quick story. So I have on occasion been really blessed to meet some local wig sisters who live around the area that I live. And last year, almost 2 years ago now, because it was pre-COVID, I had 2 wig sisters over to my house and we got to play wigs for an afternoon. They brought a couple of wigs. I have a ton of wigs, and we just tried on wigs and we did some different things. And one of those wig sisters, her circumference is very similar to my circumference, but the rest of her head shape could not be more different from mine. And every wig she put on was there is a fly flying around here. Sorry about that, you guys. This is where you'll see that I don't edit my videos. Every wig looked so much longer on her than me. Sometimes it almost looked like if it came to here on me, it almost came to her shoulders, because her neck was so much shorter than mine, in addition to other measurements on her head. That is why it is so important that you understand how you stack up, if you will, to the person that you're looking at if you're watching a video, or if you ask a wig sister, how does this wig fit you? If you don't understand all of their measurements, then you aren't getting all of the information. So keep that in mind and really start to get to know, I find it helpful if I have a wig that a reviewer has reviewed. I will compare, how does that wig look on me compared to that reviewer? How are they different? Does it look like the same length? Does it look like more hair on me? And I'll start to kind of get a sense of how I stack up to that particular reviewer. And I'll be able to use that later when I'm watching videos to know if a wig that I think looks adorable on her would look good on me. And I will tell you that, for example, Taz, most of us know Taz. Taz is such a treasure here in the wig community. And she was one of the first reviewers I watched videos, and I watched hours and hours of her videos. And she's another one of those that is so blessed to look fabulous in a lot of different styles. And a lot of the styles that look really great on her don't always look really great on me. And I had to learn that the hard way, and quite a few purchases that didn't go well for me because I loved how they looked on her. But that's all education, and you'll learn all of that over time. So let's get to the measurements, because this is already getting so long. Okay, so one of the first measurements that you're going to take is the circumference. So circumference is really the measurement around where the wig is going to sit on your head. So that's the around your head measurement. And so I may actually not be able to do this on this thing because you can't really see. We'll just pretend there's a hairline. And so basically you're gonna go around the head. So this is one where I think it'll be easier to show on me. As a matter of fact, it'll be easier to show on me when I don't have a wig on. Look at how we just shift on the fly. Okay, so you're gonna start here. I really thought it was gonna be easier on the wig head, but maybe not. So you're gonna go behind the ear, you're gonna go around the circumference of your head, so like that, and then you're gonna come over to the end, and you're gonna wanna like be in a mirror or put your thumb there or whatever, and then you're gonna get your measurement. So that measured 22 inches, and that is my measurement. I've measured myself multiple times. So I am a 22-inch circumference. So you're going around your hairline, essentially, behind your ears, and around to the back. And the easiest way to do that, if you're doing it yourself and you don't have a helper, is to kind of start at the back so that you can kind of get it up here to this part, and you can sort of put your finger where they meet, your thumb or your finger or whatever it is. And then when you take it off, I kind of did that backwards because I'm talking at the same time, then you'll know what your measurement is. So that's your circumference. I'm going to have a companion document like I've done for my other videos on my website that will give you some additional information that will help you. And one of those is going to be a chart that's going to tell you how these different measurements stack up, whether they're considered average, petite, large, whatever it may be. And so you'll be able to see how that is. I didn't actually print off the chart right now, but I think average goes from like a 21.5 to a 22.5, or something like that. And so I know I fall into the average category, solidly average around my head. The next measurement I want to talk about though, because I have tried on average size caps before that were too small for me. And so there is some variation in cap size, but another really important measurement that you should be aware of is the front of your hairline to your nape, so the back of your hairline. And so in order to measure that, you're just gonna start where your hairline starts here, and you're gonna go over the top of your head to the bottom of your hairline, and you're gonna grab that. And I got 12 and a half. Let me double check that I did that right and what this says I am. I got 12.75 before. Hairline to nape of neck. So let me try that again. The hard part is I don't have a mirror, so I'm trying to feel where my hairline ends. So we start here, we go all the way, and that's what I get. Yep, 12.75 that time. So I'm a 12.75, which is actually very small. I'm pretty much child size over the top of my head. So 12.75. If you don't have any hair, and so you don't have a built-in kind of starting and stopping point, that is a little tricky. So for the back, it's kind of where you have an indent right here. As long as you have a little bit of an occipital bone, you'll be able to feel that, kind of where you have an indent. And then up here, the rule of thumb is the 4-finger rule. If you take 4 fingers from exactly where your eyebrows start and you go like this, your hairline should start where your finger ends. Again, that is something that is not set in stone. I know some people who have a 3-finger forehead. And so you're gonna have to play with that a little bit, and just over time, you'll learn what finger amount looks natural on you to your eye. And if you've got anybody you can ask in your life, that could be helpful as well. But that's kind of a place to start, is the 4-finger rule to determine where your hairline should start. The third measurement that you really need to know is the ear-to-ear measurement. And this one is going to be difficult because this is one where I could not find consistent information on how to get that measurement. So when I first did it, I just measured over the top of my head. I went from one ear to the next ear, just right over the top of my head, and I measured that. And then I come back, and that's about 12 1/4. And what did I write down here? 12. So I said I was 12 over the top of my head. So you basically go from behind the ear where your hairline is to behind the ear where your hairline is. And that time I got a little over 12. So that is how I measured it. I have done research now, and I have learned that there is some advice out there that says you should be further back where the tape measure goes over the top of your head. So John Renault's video that I watched says that you should start at your hairline, go back 7 inches. Let me get my finger on 7 inches. So start at your hairline, go back 7 inches. So that's like right at the crown, quite a ways further back than I had measured. And that's where it should pass over the top of your head. This is super tricky to do. I don't like this at all, but let's do it because that's what they said. So, and I don't know how to show this to you guys. So I'm doing it, and so I kept my finger here while I shifted it over to behind my ear. So now I'm just gonna hold it in place, and I'm gonna go back down behind my ear, and I'm gonna put my finger here. So that gives me about 12 1/4. So it gives me a little bit of a larger measurement because I'm going further back, and I'm going to kind of where the bump of my head is. So where my head starts to go around. What's correct? I don't know. I can't tell you. All I can tell you is, again, take all your measurements and then see where you land on the chart, and then try to go from there. So here's the next advice I'm going to talk about that I think is contradictory. So you know those measurements, and those are not all the measurements. So I'm going to tell you about some other measurements, but for the purposes of a wig cap, those are all the measurements. And here's 2 conflicting pieces of advice that I found. The first piece of advice I found was that you take all those measurements, and if they don't all land in one category, which mine don't, I'm average over here, I'm child size over here, then take your largest measurement, and that is the cap size that you go for. So in my case, it would be average, because that's my largest measurement, is my circumference, and that's in the average range. Another piece of advice that I found, and I found this one on wigs.com, is that you take the ear to ear measurement. So this measurement is the one you go with if they all fall in different categories, and that's the one you use. But if I did that, I would be child size. And I can't wear a lot of petite wigs. A lot of petite, I've tried John Renault petite in a hand tied. I've tried Belle Madame wigs, which run really small. I'd say that, you know, they're average petite, leaning toward petite. And while the circumference fits me, I don't get good coverage on wigs that are petite. They don't come down low enough on the ear tabs, so all of my bio hair shows. They feel like they're constantly pulling up at the nape. So if I followed that advice, I would be sized incorrectly. So I'm not really sure. Again, very trustworthy resources out there that is providing this information, and it's not really consistent. So my best advice to you is take it with a grain of salt, but do your measurements and then start to learn over time what wigs fit you the best, what brands fit you the best. This leads me to my next little piece of advice and where wig wearing is difficult. Not all brands are the same, and it's really not even consistent within brand. So I think if you've watched my videos for a while, you've seen that I've done quite a few reviews for Noriko wigs. And I have mentioned in quite a few of those reviews the inconsistency in the sizes of their caps. I have 2 Jackson reviews, as a matter of fact. I reviewed Jackson in Auburn Sugar, and then I did a color spotlight using Jackson in Champagne R. The Auburn Sugar was so tight on me, I couldn't comfortably wear it. The Jackson in Champagne R fit me actually pretty well. It was a little snug, but it was not bad at all. The same wig. They were both the average size of Jackson, and they totally fit me differently. You are going to find that in this journey. And as frustrating as that is, I just want to say something about that. This is not the only area where we consumers can't count on consistency. And it's a whole video I'd actually like to do. I'm going to do a chat on this, but just suffice it to say, if you've ever gone jeans shopping, you know what I'm talking about. You can't, you know, you're a size 12 in this brand, you're a size 16 in another brand. And you will even find that in the same brand if you get different colors of jeans. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I had found a pair, I want to say it's Massimo brand, but I can't remember now, of jeans that I absolutely loved. And I found them in, like, I had them in blue, and then I found them in black, and I found them in a burgundy. All 3 of them fit me completely differently. The blue were super comfortable, fit me perfectly. I couldn't even wear the black. It was like 2 sizes smaller, but it was sized exactly the same. It was exactly the same style, just a different color. So while we can be really hard on wig manufacturers and the wig world because of these inconsistencies, it is not limited to this world. It's just that this feels a lot more personal because we're dealing with an emotional issue when it comes to wigs. But I do want to tell you that manufacturers there's going to be challenges, and some wig manufacturers run more petite, and that would be like Ellen Villa would be a brand that runs a little bit on the average petite side. Not always though. Belle Madame, Noriko, I would consider Noriko a lot of their wigs to run average petite. And then you've got manufacturers who are known to have what are called big head friendly wigs. And I would say Estetica is one of those. I find Estetica wigs to run generally a little big on me, that I have to cinch them in. I would say I have experienced that sometimes with maybe Gabor a little bit. Belle Tress is one that I think has run average, more on the average large side. Although I just got a Belle Tress Bellissima that feels really small on me. So Again, it's going to be a journey. I will include in the document, on the companion document to this video, I will include some information on the generally accepted knowledge about manufacturer sizing, and you know which wigs are more true to average, which wigs run a little bit average petite and average large, and so I will also include that. Again, it's a guide, it is not hard and fast, and you will find variation within all of that. So to sum up, I've given you guys how to measure your head. Definitely get your measurements written down. I've talked about variation in sizing. I've talked about variation in how you're told to measure. And so the next section here, I want to talk about some other measurements that you're going to take that are really going to be helpful to you to know as well. They're not as common, but I definitely think it's worth doing them. So stick around for the next section. Okay, so let's talk about other measurements that I think are worth you taking so that it will help you as you're looking at wigs and watching reviews. So if you'll have noticed, I don't really give measurements in my videos. I don't tell you like how long is the side, how long is the crown, how long is the nape, because I think my videos are long enough and you can look up that information, but you will see some reviewers do that. What you will see also is most of the retailers, when they're selling the wigs, they will have all of those measurements for you in the details of the wig. And so that's why it can be really helpful for you to understand some of these measurements so that you can get a sense of where like the fringe or the bang is going to fall on you, where the side's going to fall on you, all of that. So again, there's some inconsistency here that I will talk about. And it is what it is. Just educate yourself and then you can proceed with that information. So first of all, I'm gonna have my handy dandy measure. And again, a cloth tape measure, fabric tape measure, you can get these at any, Michael's, Joann Fabrics. You can also get it on Amazon. Any products that I think could be helpful, I will link in the description. And you don't have to buy them from those links. It's just a place to start. Okay, so first of all, I think it's helpful, again, to measure from your hairline. There's a few different measurements I think you should take. One of them is from your hairline to about your eyebrow level. Because if you're looking at a wig with a fringe or a bang, you're gonna wanna know how long is that going to be on me? Is that going to be too long of a fringe? Which isn't a problem because you can always trim. Like Wyatt here, I don't really wear her like full on fringe, but she is just a tad bit too long for me. If I wanted to wear her like this, I would have to trim it. And even for someone inexperienced with cutting like I am, that's kind of an easy trim to make. But you do want to know if it's going to be too short for you. And so we're all a little bit different here. So you want to know that measurement. You'll also want to measure from your hairline to the tip of your nose and your hairline to your chin. So I am 8 inches from my hairline to my chin. And so that helps me know how long my face is compared to another reviewer if they have included that information in their details. Or how long are the sides? Is that going to fall above or below chin level on me? You might also want to measure your neck. This is one I'm not really sure where to stop the measuring, but some people know like the length of their neck, and so that maybe you measure like from the bottom of your ear to your shoulder, or from the crown, like the crown down to your shoulder, because one of the measurements that you'll get with a wig is the crown measurement, and that'll tell you how long the hair is at the crown down. You might also want to get a sense for, like maybe how low does your hairline go. So if you're ever considering pixies or shorter styles, you'll want to know how important that nape measurement is for you and kind of what is too short when it comes to the nape measurement. But I think all of those can be helpful, especially if the window that you're working with on how wigs fit you, length of wig, all of those things, if that window is tiny, if you are very specific on what you're looking for, you're gonna wanna do that to make sure that you're not having too many bad purchases. You'll start to learn pretty quickly what's too short or what's too long and those kinds of things. Now, here's where there's a caveat, as there always is. What the wig used to, how the wig manufacturer measured those things may not be consistent. So if you are someone who really likes wavy and curly wigs like I do, the measurements may not be exactly accurate, easy to use, because it's going to depend on the amount of wave, the amount of curl. Did they measure? I've seen this in other reviewers' tabs. I've seen this often where she'll say she took her own measurements because the manufacturer said the sides were 12 inches, but this is really hitting her around 8 inches. So she thinks they may have measured it before they curled the fibers. So that's where it becomes really tricky, but we do the best that we can. So get your measurements and start to learn these things. Eventually it will get easier, but you won't be flying blind. And I think that's probably the takeaway from this is you're empowered with knowledge, right? We always hear knowledge is power. And in this case, it really is. And you're empowered to make some informed decisions if you have all of this gathered. So I encourage you to take all of those measurements and know that in every one of my videos, I always include all of my measurements in the description box. So you can always compare yourself to me and how a wig looks. So if you're loving the way Wyatt looks right now, you can go to the description of this video, see my measurements, and get a sense of whether or not Wyatt's gonna fit on you the same way Wyatt fits on me. All right, everyone, so we're back with what I think is the final segment of this video. I appreciate you guys sticking with me and listening to my sometimes little rants on some of the inconsistencies with this journey. It isn't as simple as just taking a few measurements, and I do think all of this is very important for you to understand. So while I could have shortened this up quite a bit by just taking a few measurements and giving you some data, I do think a lot of this context is super important and will help you in the long run. So this final segment is about an issue, kind of a special circumstance that a lot of wig sisters face with the shape of their head that make this a real challenge for them. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about how your occipital bone impacts your wig wearing journey in a little bit of a negative way. So what is your occipital bone? Let me put these down and take my wig off so that I can show you what I'm referring to. So your occipital bone is this section of your head right here. It's where you've got the little indent right here. So on me, I think I've got a decent occipital bone. And so when I do this, I can feel a hard bony ridge that goes up like this. Some people talk about not having a very flat back of their head. You'll hear people refer, and maybe you're experiencing that, where you feel like you don't have any sort of a bump there. It's just really, really flat. That can create some real challenges with wig wearing because it can cause the wig to want to ride up a lot more. So let's talk about that. I do want to say though, I feel like I have to say this. You may think you're struggling with your occipital bone, but really it's just being a new wig wearer. So over time, you will learn whether or not you truly do have more of a flat head that's not able to sort of contain that nape versus just not being used to wearing wigs. When I first started wearing wigs, I thought maybe I was one of those who had too flat of an occipital bone. I really struggled with wigs feeling like they were riding up in the back. There were times I felt like my wig was gonna slingshot off my head in the middle of the day. It was very uncomfortable. I tried using it stays back there. I struggled. And over time, I realized it was really just I was not used to wearing wigs. And the more used to it I got, the less that was an issue. And now I rarely notice wigs riding up in the back. And sure, they shift around a little bit here and there, but that's just normal. And if I do feel like I'm constantly having to tug a wig down in the back and adjust it, that's an indication to me that that wig is probably a little bit too small for me. And the first thing I'll do is make sure that the adjusters are let out more. So if I've cinched in a wig for some reason and I'm feeling that, I'll let it out a little bit to see if loosening it up helps at all. And I have found that it does on occasion help. So wig size can impact this. But let's just say you are someone whose back of your head is quite flat and you do really struggle with this. I have some tips for you. Let me grab them that I hope will help you. I reached out to our wig sisters and I asked people to send me examples of the things that they have tried that will help them. I may still get more examples trickling in, so I will include this information in the companion document along with everything else so that you have something to refer to and you don't always have to come back and watch this video to remind you of what I said. And in that document, if I get some additional tips that I don't share here, I will add that. So I would recommend you go check that document out anyway, because there may be some extra tips in there. But here's what some wig sisters shared with me. First of all, what I did in the beginning, before I buzzed all my bio hair off, is I would just put all of my hair in a little baby ponytail, like a little kind of bun, ponytail bun, low on my nape. And then I would have the wig would kind of sit on that ridge that that baby ponytail created. I think what told me that I really don't have an issue back there is one of the reasons why I didn't buzz my hair in the beginning, aside from being really nervous and my husband really not liking the idea, was I thought I needed that baby pony to keep my wig in place. It turns out I didn't. And actually having a buzzed head creates buzzed hair creates sort of like a Velcro effect. And you'll hear wig sisters who buzz their hair say this, the stubble of it, and it kind of holds the wig in place. It's really great. But the baby pony didn't really impact me one way or the other, but it is worth trying. And I would then sometimes take bobby pins and sort of anchor the back of the wig into that baby ponytail. So I'd sort of put the bobby pin through the nape and then kind of anchor it to that baby ponytail. So that's something that you can try and see if that will help you. Another idea that I have gotten is that you can sew clips into the nape of the wig, either a clip or a comb, and then you can anchor it in a baby ponytail that way. If you sew a little comb in the bottom and then it just sort of, you know, I think you get what I'm saying. There's a little comb here, and then when you put it on, you sort of tuck it into that ponytail. That should help keep that nape in place. So that's another really great tip that you can use. Wig grips. So I'm not a fan of wig grips because I don't like the extra bulk that a wig grip gives me. I also find that I have trouble having my lace lay down flat when I have a wig grip on. Lots of wig sisters love wig grips though, and they're an essential component to their wig wearing. So if you haven't tried a wig grip, then you could certainly try one of those and see if that helps keep the nape in place. I don't really have a video. I have a video where I talk about different ways to adhere a wig. I might do one specific to wig grips, but just know that there's lots of information out there about wig grips, and that may be something to try if you haven't. A wig sister shared with me that she actually adheres her wig grip. So Kathleen shared that she adheres her wig grip to her head with its stays, and she adheres the wig grip all the way around. So not just in the front, she does it in the front, in the sides, and in the back. So she takes its stays. I do have a video showing you how to use its stays to adhere a wig, and then she puts it at the nape, and then she puts the wig grip, she adheres that, and then she puts her wig on, and the wig grip holds the wig, and the adhesive holds the wig grip. So she says it's a great solution for her, and it works every time. She also said it helps to alleviate a little bit of itchiness from permatease on a wig, because it's a little bit of a barrier between you and that permatease. So another bonus, I guess. Amy, our wig sister Amy, says she uses a silicone wig grip and finds that works way better than the cloth wig grips. I do have a review of a product called the Wig Fix, which is a silicone wig grip. And so you can certainly look at that review, but I did ask her to send me a link to the wig grip she purchased on Amazon. And so I'll make sure that link is included in the description if you're looking for a resource. So there's two resources for you, the Wig Fix and the silicone grip that Amy uses. Our sister Deborah says that she wears a wig grip and uses its stays as well, but she makes sure she doesn't tighten those adjusters too much. Even though she has a petite head, she finds tightening the adjusters makes it ride up. So she doesn't really tighten them that much. She said, I have even gone so far as to roll up a piece of pantyhose and stuff it into my wig to fill the back out more. So that's getting really creative. Our wig sister Teresa, she also uses It Stays, and let's see here, she uses a low ponytail, puts it, just like I said, do the low pony so that you've got a little kind of barrier to prevent it from riding up. And so she shared some wig grips that she likes and how she attaches it. I'm just kind of going through this one. This one I just received right before videoing, so I didn't read it that closely. Yeah, so kind of a similar solution where she takes the It Stays. I like the idea of adhering the wig grip versus the wig. I did early on try to adhere my wig with It Stays back there, and I just could never get it to stick. So I kind of like that idea. So anyway, some ideas for you worth trying. Again, go to the companion document to see if anybody else shared something that I haven't talked about here, and then you should hopefully have a handful of ideas that you can try. All right. So we have reached the end. We have talked about how to measure your head, why measurements are important, all the different measurements you can take, and the value of each of them. We've talked about the variation in information that's available out there and some conflicting information or incomplete information. We've talked about some challenges that you'll face, and one in particular with the occipital bone and whether it's flat or more rounded. I hope this helped you as you're thinking about buying your first wig, or if you've purchased some wigs and you found that they haven't fit you, or you struggled with the fit. I hope that this has helped give you some ideas of what to do about that. Part of this journey though is it's foreign to us. We're wearing a foreign object on our head that we're not used to, and sometimes all you can do is power through it until you get used to it. Wigs are not going to be comfortable in the beginning. If they are, that is such a blessing, and embrace that. But usually they're a little hot, they're a little tight, they're a little itchy, they don't feel secure, and they just aren't natural. And so that is something most of us experience. Heck, I remember when I first got my nails done years and years ago, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't zip up my jeans or button my jeans. I couldn't write correctly. And over time I got used to them, and now they're just a part of me. And so wigs will start to feel that way for you. I have days, some wigs I own are so comfortable, I forget that I'm wearing them. Truly, it's just like as natural as wearing a baseball cap used to feel to me, as I used to do that every day instead when I was trying to hide my hair loss. So you will get used to it. You'll find what you prefer. You'll find, do you like your wigs a little tighter, a little looser? Do you, which brands fit you better? Do you like, extended napes? Do you find those more comfortable? Lace fronts? So over time, all of that is going to become easier for you. And so be gentle with yourself and understand that you are not alone and that you are going to get there. If you want to get there, you will get there. So just do your best and watch as many videos as you can watch, ask questions, and we'll help you through this. If I missed something in this video, if you were looking for some information related to how to wear wigs, how to fit wigs, and I didn't cover it, please let me know so I can make sure not only to add that bit of information to the companion document, which would be a lot easier to edit than a video, but I can always make another video. I can do a Tip Tuesday, and I can dig deeper into something. So please don't hesitate to give me feedback. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm so glad that you're here for this series, and I cannot wait. Ooh, I swallowed wrong there. I cannot wait to talk to you in the next video. I'll see you soon.